Ms. Munsey, the floor is yours, and we welcome you to committee.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm here as a survivor of sex trafficking to testify on behalf of SB 1485. When I was 16, I was lost and vulnerable due to my parents' divorce and a subsequent move to a new city. I was out of my element and no longer had lifelong friends to support me. I lost the structure I had grown up with and felt utterly alone. Then I met an older guy. I thought I had found someone who cared for me and whom I could trust. I was so wrong. I had been duped, like so many other young women, and found myself coerced into sex trafficking by someone whom I thought had loved me. The impact has been lifelong. Fortunately for me, I wasn't trafficked for long before I was arrested. Being arrested was a blessing to me, as it gave me time to think about what had happened away from the control of my trafficker. I was able to step away and begin to start my life over. Unfortunately, after my arrest, there were no programs to help me with my recovery at that time. Instead, I struggled with depression, PTSD, my value, and my sense of self. Until I returned to school and got into psychotherapy. Through this work, I learned about some of the important provisions for someone in recovery from sex trafficking. Eventually, I gained my bachelor's of social work, my master's of social work, became licensed as a clinical social worker, and I began working as a therapist. Over the years, I always knew that somehow my experience as a trafficking survivor would come to be useful in my work. Then 10 years ago, I began meeting with others who saw sex trafficking as a huge issue in San Diego. We knew, along with Los Angeles, San Francisco, that San Diego was in the top 10 cities nationwide for commercial sexual exploitation of children. We also knew that there were no programs in San Diego to help women escaping the sex trade. So combining research, training, and my experience, we founded GenerateHope and opened our doors. At GenerateHope, we work with women who've been sex trafficked. We provide residential care in a home-like setting where 2 house moms live with the women to keep things running smoothly. Monday through Friday, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., the women attend our program, which is on the same property but in a different building. We have a credentialed teacher on staff who helps the women learn to be scholars, earn their high school diplomas, and prepare for college or trade school. We also have a therapist on staff who works alongside an intern from a local college to provide individual and group psychotherapy to heal the trauma of the sex trade. We have adjunct therapies such as equine therapy, art therapy, yoga, dance, photography, and financial literacy to help women find their place in the world. We collaborate with our community to provide medical, dental, and psychiatric care, along with tattoo removal, as many of the women are branded by their traffickers. We also have acupuncture and chiropractic coming along. In short, we provide a holistic healing solution to a holistic issue. The women we serve are mostly in their 20s, having been trafficked since 15 or 16, which is the average age of entry into sex trafficking. They are American citizens for the most part, recruited out of our high schools, middle schools, malls, public transportation, foster homes, group homes, off the internet, and anywhere that young people may hang out. They are trafficked out of any U.S. city and often moved around to keep them confused and dependent. They are most likely boyfriended in by an older male and physically, sexually, and emotionally abused to keep them compliant. They are our daughters, our sisters, our neighbors, our friends. As we work with these young women at GenerateHope, we assess for PTSD, major depressive disorder, and self-esteem. What we found is that all sex-trafficked women come in with PTSD at the same level of returning Vietnam veterans, and both have come back in shame. Many trafficked women also have major depressive disorder and low self-esteem. However, after going through our program, women have shown significant improvement in all areas. After 6 to 12 months, we are able to move PTSD, depression, and self-esteem into the normal range. Women are changing, growing, and developing at GenerateHope. excelling at college at the top of their classes. They're moving on to new lives free from the trauma of the sex trade and reaching their dreams and goals for their new lives. The cost to imprison an individual in California is $71,000 a year, while the cost for our program is approximately $50,000 per woman per year. With the help of volunteers and engagement from our community, that includes all their therapy, education, housing, food, clothing, and all their necessities. That's about the same as putting your child through a year or two of college.
We have about 30 seconds, ma'am.
SB 1485, the California We Do Better bill, could help change that by allowing people in California to direct some of their tax dollars to help solve the problem of sex trafficking. SB 1485 would also help us to not just to stay open, but to expand and treat more women. SB 1485 would help our community engage at a greater level, treating the holistic nature of the issue with the multiple providers engaged in the work of rehabilitation. Rehabilitation requires a multi-pronged approach because the damage runs so deep and wide. Imagine the impact of this bill to our work at GenerateHope. These charitable dollars are immediately healing impact to the victims' lives and an immense savings on the public care system. I ask the committee to please seriously consider the benefits of SB 1485 and help us help survivors get out of the sex trade and on toward their life journeys.